The following Spanish class is brought to you by Metro Floors, where you can find quality flooring made affordable. Voted Antelope Valley's best for 23 years, Metro Floors also has an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Metro Floors, simply the best. We spoke previously about the Spanish vowels A, E, I, O, U. Consonants are, of course, all of the letters of the alphabet that are not vowels. Consonants are defined as sounds caused by complete or partial obstruction of air, whereas vowels are made with zero obstructions, and the air flows freely. Some consonants are pronounced identically in both English and Spanish. However, others are not. For a class of this level, we will not get into too much scientific phonetic detail, but I will discuss briefly each consonant. You will notice that I will not explain them in alphabetical order, but I am going to group certain consonants together, as some have similar traits. For this video, we are going to discuss only 3 consonants, and those are B, D, G, or in Spanish, B, D, G. You will soon learn that the sounds in Spanish of B, D, G varies, but to simplify, we will call them B, D, G. You may wonder why I would group the B, D, and G together. What could they possibly have in common? Well, the B, D, and G are all voiced consonants. And there are several other voiced consonants, but these have more in particular. First, a voiced consonant is one, when pronounced, makes the vocal cords vibrate, like B, D, G. Also, each one of these consonants can be pronounced in 2 different ways. There is a hard B, D, G and a soft B, D, G. So how will you know which one to use? That depends on the letter's placement within a word or sentence. And of course, practice. The hard B and G are essentially the same as the English B and G. The B is bilabial, meaning that it is created by both lips. The lips obstruct the air, causing a consonant sound. You will notice that you cannot make the B noise with your lips sealed. The sound is produced when the lips separate. The hard G sound is made by placing the back of the tongue against the soft palate, found between the hard palate and the opening to the nasal cavity. The back of the tongue is prohibiting airflow, and thus no sound is made until it is released. This is the obstruction that defines this letter as a consonant. This completely restrictive contact of the articulators is known as occlusive. Therefore, the hard B and hard G are occlusive. Now let's look at some examples of the hard B and hard G. For example, the Spanish word barco compared to the English word boat, and the Spanish word ganso as compared to the English word goose. Did you notice that the B on barco and the B on boat are the same B, and the G on ganso and the G on goose is the same G? Moving on, now we're going to talk about the Spanish D. The Spanish D can both be hard and soft, but both hard and soft Ds are different than the English D. The hard Spanish D is pronounced by placing the tip of the tongue on the back of the upper front teeth. This is known as a dental consonant because the tip of the tongue touches the teeth. The English D, on the other hand, instead of the tip of the tongue touching the teeth, it touches the alveolar ridge, or the rough part of the hard palate, or as I like to say, the part of the roof of your mouth that gets burnt when eating hot cheese products like pizza. The Spanish hard or occlusive D is found in words like diferente, meaning different. The English D is also hard, but the tongue is on the alveolar ridge and not on the back of the teeth. Notice the difference? Diferente, different. So now to review. The Spanish hard or occlusive B and G are the same as the English B and G. The Spanish Ds, however, are dental, and the English Ds are alveolar. The soft Spanish B, D, and G are more relaxed and are known as approximates. When previously making the hard sounds, the sound was not produced until the lips separated in the case of the B, or until the tongue, which was either against the teeth or the soft palate, was released. With the soft B, D, G, the contact is not complete. The lips or tongue come close to touching, but do not block the air completely, but do partially. This partial obstruction creates the consonant sound and causes the sound to come out softer and more relaxed. Let's take a look at the following examples. How about the word nada, lago, sabe? If I mispronounce these words with hard sounds, it would sound like nada, lago, sabe. But the correct pronunciation is nada, lago, sabe. So how do we know when to use the hard BDG or the soft BDG, you might ask? The hard or occlusive B and G are used only when in absolute initial position of a sentence, or when beginning a word that is after a pause in a sentence, generally after punctuation. They are also pronounced hard after a nasal consonant such as an N or an M. Notice the following sentence. Bueno, comma, botemos las cosas. The comma after bueno creates a pause, making it so the next word, botemos, is pronounced with a hard B. If there were no pause, you would pronounce the second B as a soft B. This sentence means, good, comma, let's throw the things away. The soft or approximate B and G are used the rest of the time, such as within words, or at the start of a word that does not start a sentence and is not found after a pause. This was the case with the previously mentioned words sabe and lago. There is one more exception only for the Spanish G. The G followed by an A, O, or U makes the previously mentioned hard and soft sounds. If the word has a G followed by an E or I, then the G makes the noise of the Spanish J, which is like a slightly raspy English H, like in the word gente, which means people. That concludes the B and G. Let's move on to the D. How do we know when to use the hard D and the soft D? The hard D is pronounced when in absolute initial position, like the B and G, but also within words and sentences if following a nasal consonant like M and N, or a lateral consonant like an L, as seen in the following example. Den, dinero. Those are both hard Ds because the D on den begins the sentence. It is in absolute initial position. The D on dinero is after an N, which is a nasal sound, causing that D also to be hard. This phrase means give money. The soft D is pronounced in the rest of the positions not occupied by the hard D, Like the example given earlier, nada, the D is inside of a word and therefore is pronounced soft because it's following an A, so it's not following an M, an N, or an L, so it remains soft. Another example is los dientes. It's not los dientes, unless you're going to make a pause there to emphasize the word dientes. And then another example would be the word seda. And that is it. Don't forget to practice. Subscribe to our Metro Flores YouTube channel to stay up to date with free Spanish class videos. Thank you for watching. Until next time, Viva Metro Flores.